Washington, where after the Senate failed to reach a key deadline last night, several key parts of the Patriot Act are no longer in effect. Joining us now from Capitol Hill, independent senator from Maine and member of the Intelligence Committee, Angus King. Senator, you're concerned that several parts of this act have expired.
Yeah, and I don't think it should be oversold. There's been a lot of hyperbole on both sides. This is not the essence of our national security program, but it's an important part of the toolkit. It's an important part that will enable us to determine, for example, the Tsarnaev brothers in Boston. Were they part of a wider conspiracy? Were they making calls around the country, or were they lone wolves? That's what this program is all about. I think it's a shame we couldn't make this deadline. We should have. We should have anticipated some of these problems, but here we are. And I'm hoping in the next 24 hours we're going to be able to get through this, restore the program in a way that respects people's privacy, gets the data out of the hands of the government, but is still effective in protecting national security.
Senator, we have David Ignatius from the Washington Post. David.
Senator, I wanted to ask you, people who oppose this law, these authorities often claim that the metadata program has never had any real success in stopping terrorists. You're in a position, because of your membership on the Intelligence Committee, to know more than most people. Is that true? Is it that inefficacious?
Well, but I think that's asking the wrong question. It's like a police officer, a detective at a crime scene has a little notebook. He writes things down. If you took his notebook away, would that end his ability to solve crimes? No. But would it be a tool that would help in putting pieces together to solve a crime? I think that's what we're talking about here. I don't think you can point to one case and say, in this case, without this data, we wouldn't have been able to thwart this plot. I think it's part of sort of connecting the dots, and interestingly, it was put in place after September 11th because it was this inability to track phone calls. And by the way, David, as you know, we're not talking about the content of phone calls. Nobody's listening to people's calls. We're simply talking about which number called which other number on what date and for how long. And I don't think you can. I agree. You can't say it solved X, Y, or Z plot. But I think it did make a significant difference in the Tsarnaev brothers, for example, where they could determine in a matter of hours whether we were dealing with a national conspiracy or not. And I think to say that it hasn't thwarted a plot in the past is not to say that it can't be a crucial element in something going on in the future. And we're in one of the most dangerous threat environments that I've ever seen.
Senator King, it's Willie Geist. There's been a lot of talk about the process, how this all went down last night, and the politics behind it. But let's talk about the facts. How is data collection different if this USA Freedom Act is passed than it was under the Patriot Act?
Well, the difference is that the data will not be collected by and held by the government. And I've been advocating for a couple of years that I thought we ought to get it out of the hands of the government. That made me nervous as a person concerned about the possible abuse. Lord Acton's famous phrase, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. My belief was it should not be held by the government. The new law, the Freedom Act, which will hopefully, I believe, pass in the next few days, leaves the data in the hands of the phone company, and then the government can make inquiries based upon a court proceeding, and that data will be there and not in some computer held by the federal government. My concern about the Freedom Act as it's currently constructed is there's no requirement of the phone companies to hold the data for any particular period of time. And my concern is they're going to compete with each other to say who can hold it the shortest, and what in effect we will have is a repeal of the law without actually admitting it.
All right, Senator Angus King, thank you so much. We really do appreciate you coming on.
Yes, indeed.
David Ignatius, thank you as well.